Today we're going to be talking about factoring, but I'm going to show you how to factor if you have three terms. So let's get a problem up here on the board. Let's go with m squared plus 15m plus 36. I want to remind you that our first move is always going to be to look for the greatest common factor. In other words, is there anything that can be divided out of all three of those terms? What would you say? The answer is no. Now that we've looked for that, consider the fact that there are three terms here. And when you see three terms, we are going to use a technique called product sum. So off to the side, I want you to just write product, also sum. And if you've never seen this before, it's really kind of a cool technique. Here's how it works. You're going to take the coefficient of your squared term, which is 1, and you're going to multiply that by your constant, your last term. And so in this case, we get 36. Under sum, you're going to write down whatever the coefficient is for your middle term, and in our case, it's 15. So let's not look at this for the moment. Let's just focus on these numbers. And what we're going to be looking for now, under product, since product means multiplication, we're looking for two numbers that can multiply together that will give us 36. Those same two numbers have to add up to give us 15. And you may already know what those numbers are, but let's just assume for the moment that you don't. One method for finding those numbers is to just list factors of 36. 1 times 36 will certainly give you 36, but there's no way 1 plus 36 will give you 15. So we keep moving. 2 times 18 will give you 36, but they will not add up to give you 15. 3 times 12 will give you 36, and yes, that does add up to give you 15. So it looks like 3 and 12 are the numbers that we are looking for, so let's use them to state our answer. I'll go ahead and get two parentheses like this, and since our variable is m, I'll put m. This is a positive 3, so I'll put plus 3, and then m, and that's a positive 12, so I'll put plus 12, and that is our answer. So you can always double check your answer by foiling or multiplying these two times these two, and it should give you back what you started with. Okay, that's one problem. Let's do another. Okay, let's go with z squared minus 15z plus 54. Okay, as you look at this, is there a greatest common factor? No. There's nothing that you are going to divide out of all three of those terms. So at this point in time, we recognize that there are three terms, so let's use the technique product sum. We'll take the 1 coefficient and multiply that by the 54, and that's going to give us 54. And under sum, I'm just going to take this coefficient from my middle term, which is negative 15. Okay, So we're not looking at this anymore. We're now focused on those two numbers. So let's see if we can find two numbers that will multiply together to give us 54. So if you haven't found them yet, let's just start listing factors of 54. Start from the beginning. 1. 1 times 54 will give you 54, but it's not going to add up to give you this. 2. 2 times 27 will give you 54, but it will not add up to give you this. 3. 3 times 18 will give you 54, and you're thinking, well, you know, if I work my signs on this, maybe I can get these two to add up to give you negative 15. What if I made the 18 negative? I can add these two up. That'll give me negative 15. But wait a minute. 3 times negative 18 will not give you a positive 54. So this is not going to work. Let's keep rolling. 4. 4 cannot divide into 54 evenly, so let's go to 5. That won't work. But what about 6? 6 and 9. Now if I get my signs right with those two numbers, I think this is going to work. Let's make them both negative. Negative 6 times negative 9 will give me a positive 54. And at the same time, these two will add up to give you the negative 15 that you need. So I'm going to say that we have found our numbers. And for that reason, we're going to go directly to our answer. Get my parenthesis going, and I'm going to say z minus 6, and then z minus 9. And that, my friends, is our final answer. Okay? Let's do another one. I'm going to encourage you to pause the video from time to time to see if you can work the problem out so that you can compare what you get to what I get. Let's do one more of these. How about this one? 5b to the third minus 5b to the second minus 60b. I'm going to grab another marker here. But I'm going to ask you, you know what we have to do first? We always have to look for a greatest common factor. Is there one here? Take a look at that. Yes, you say, there is something that I can divide out of every term. And in this case, it looks like all three of these can be divided by 5b. You can divide a 5b out of any of those three. So this is our greatest common factor. And so since we've located that, excuse me, let's get a parenthesis going here. 5b times what will give me back 5b to the third. I'm hoping you're thinking 5b squared. 5b times what will give you negative 5b squared. Well, that will be a negative b. And lastly, 5b times what will give you negative 60b. Negative 12. Take a look at what has happened here. Because we have factored out this greatest common factor, we are now left with something smaller to work with in looking for our answer. So that's why we always look for a greatest common factor, because we want to make our numbers our terms as small as we can get them because it's easier. So now we are left to factor this. I see 3 terms, and that lets me know I'm going to use product sum. So take the coefficient, in this case it's a 1, the coefficient of your square term, and multiply that by your constant term here, which is a negative 12. So under product, I'm going to write negative 12. What do I write under sum? Whatever the coefficient is in my middle term. In this case, it's a negative 1b, so the coefficient's negative 1. So let the hunt begin. I'm looking for 2 numbers that will multiply together to give me negative 12, and also must add up to negative 1. So let's see, 2 and 6 will give me the 12, but there's no way this is going to add up to negative 1. What about 3 and 4? Now if I get my signs right, that's going to work. What do you think? Let's see, if I make that a negative 4, 3 times negative 4 gives me my negative 12, and 3 times negative 4 adds up to negative 1. So we have found the numbers that we're looking for. Let's go directly to our answer. Get my parenthesis going. It's going to be b, that's a positive 3, so plus 3, and then b minus 4. Don't forget to include your greatest common factor. Be sure to put that in your final answer. So here we go. That is your final answer, and I hope this video helps you in factoring the problems given to you.